Welcome today to Matt's Casual Cooking. Today we will be making the very flavorful and delicious chicken or steak enchiladas with cheddar cheese on top. It's very easy, a couple more steps than what you might be used to, but very easy to make overall and very good in your stomach. So we'll go through all the ingredients and I hope you enjoy. All right, let's get going. So now I'm going to show you how to make the enchiladas with white sauce. So for the filling, we are going to need 1.5 pounds of sirloin steak. You're also going to need one small to medium onion, diced or cut into strips, and you're going to need 2 to 3 bell peppers, also cut either diced or into strips. I'm using strips so they fit in there a little bit better into the tortillas. For the white sauce, you are going to need 8 ounces of cream cheese softened. If you could bring it to room temperature, that'd be the best. You're going to need one 10.5 ounce can of either cream of chicken soup or cream of mushroom soup. We will be using cream of mushroom soup today. You'll need a cup of milk, and you will need 1 to 2 tablespoons of ground cumin for it. Now for the tortillas, you are going to need at least 10. You might not need all of them, but you'll need at least 10 small flour tortillas. So we're going to go ahead and make the sauce first, because what we're going to do is we're just going to make it and set aside. Then we are going to cook our meat and then go from there. So we're going to go ahead and add 1 tablespoon, maybe not quite 2, go ahead and add a little bit more. And add the milk. Go ahead and add the 10 ounces of cream of mushroom soup. So now what you want to do is just take it and kind of whisk it together. Push those chunks down. See, unfortunately, kind of just, if you got a couple little chunks when you put the sauce on, that's fine. They're gonna kind of melt. Just try to get them all kind of combined together and going. Alright, so as you can see, we are pretty much combined at this point. There are some chunks of cream cheese, but that is fine. They are going to warm up, and before we put this on, we'll just give it a nice little kind of like stir before, but if not, I mean, it will melt into the sauce as well, and you'll be alright with that. So, alright, now just like before with our pan, we're going to add about a tablespoon of oil. I'm using vegetable oil. That should be fine. You don't want to overdo it, or you're going to have a lot of oil splattering everywhere, and you definitely don't want that. So we're going to go ahead and turn it on like before to medium high. What I also need to mention for the meat, for the seasoning for the meat after we put it on, you're going to need 1 tablespoon of ground cumin. You're going to need a tablespoon of onion powder You're going to need a teaspoon of sea salt, a teaspoon of pepper, a teaspoon of ground mustard, and a teaspoon of ground coriander. Now what I've done is I've combined it into a spice bottle that I've kept. Now if you want to make this recipe in advance, you can, and if you close it tightly, keep it in a nice dark, cool place, you can keep for about 3 to 6 months, depending on what happened. So you can do that really with any recipe. So, all right, so we're just going to wait until it is heated, the pan is heated up, and then we'll get to cooking. All right, so now that you can see the oil is kind of nice and it's starting to steam just a little bit, so what we want to do is now we want to go ahead and put our meat on. Put it in there, don't just kind of throw it in there, put it in there kind of nice and soft. Will help keep the oil from coming down a lot. Now what you want to do is you want to take your seasoning for the meat. Go ahead and kind of get this kind of even. Now what you want to do is just kind of go ahead and take it, kind of sprinkle it around. I know it looks like a lot, but it's fine. Now what you want to do is just go ahead and kind of move it around. Try to get it on all the pieces as best you can. You're going to see some kind of hit the pan, but that's okay. Alright, so this meat does cook pretty quickly. It's kind of thin, so not going to be much pink left after a while. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and add the onions and bell peppers. Don't worry, I know it's kind of filling it up. That's okay. And just kind of gently kind of push them around. So this won't take much longer, as the onions and the bell peppers probably only take a minute or two to really kind of cook and get fragrant as well. But what we're doing here is we're kind of combining some of those excess spices onto the filling itself. So we're just going to let that sit there and cook for a minute. Just like before, when your onions start becoming a little more translucent, that's when you pretty much know you're done. So when we're done, we're going to go ahead and, when we are done, we're going to remove this just from the heat. We're going to keep it in the pan, so it is going to cook just a little bit longer. This cast iron is really good at retaining heat. Alright, so we're pretty much done with this, and we are going to go ahead. Plus it's going to be cooking for about half an hour, so they are going to cook a little bit more in there. So what we're going to do, go ahead and turn off your heat. Go ahead and take this and set it off of the heat somewhere. Alright, so now that we are finished, I've given the sauce a good stir. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to put everything together for the oven. But before we do that, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and preheat the oven to 400 degrees. Go ahead and do that. You can even do that while you are cooking the meat if you so choose. All right, so now what we're going to do, you are going to need a 9 by 13 dish to put the tortillas in. We can get a lot in. So what we're going to do first is we need to either use a non-stick spray on it, or we need to actually butter the pan. So I'm actually going to butter the pan. So all you really want to do is get a stick of butter. This one's been used quite a bit. Go ahead and take the edge, just kind of run it along, just like this. Just gonna get the sides too. You don't have to be perfect. Just want to get a decent edging or decent layer on the dish itself. Alright, so now what we want to do is, see, take your tortillas here, and you're just going to go ahead and fill it up. And get a nice little amount, and then what you're going to do is just kind of fold it over. So you don't want to put too much in, and then just kind of set it in the corner, and we are going to do this until it is filled. Alright, so we are done adding them into the pan. We've actually got 14 in there. I've actually got 12 there in the middle, and I've got 2 on the end. And that's fine. So go ahead and take your sauce, give it a little bit of a whisk. Now what you want to do is just kind of let it take a get as much as you can. Just try to cover the most as you can as well. Alright, once you got that, just kind of spread it around. Kind of fill in those crevices the best you can. And if you have any leftover meat and vegetables, don't worry about it. Just put it in a container and make little tacos out of whatever tortilla shells you also have left. Alright, so now while we're waiting for this to cook or put in the oven, we are going to go ahead and take out some aluminum foil, stretch out enough to cover it. Just kind of don't push down on the top, just kind of push down on the side. I cut it a little long, but that's okay. Fold it under. And when the oven is ready, what we're going to do is just put it in, and then we will come back and look at it when it's done. Also, at this juncture, I did forget to mention early that you are going to need 8 ounces of cheddar cheese for afterwards, before it's done. Alright, so our timer has gone off, and we're going to take it out of the oven. Careful. And just, and as you can see, we got our sauce going. Now, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna put the cheese on. Take your cheese. Just kind of give it a nice layer of cheese, shredded cheese on top. So now that we've put our cheese on, what we're going to do is we're just going to stick it back in the oven, and then about 5 minutes of cook time uncovered at this point. Now you don't have to set a timer at this point. If you don't want to, you can just check to see if the cheese is nice and melted on it. We'll come back as soon as we're done. As you can see, our enchiladas are done. The cheddar has created a wonderful and very flavorful top to the enchilada. It's melted nicely. Well, I hope you enjoyed making this as much as you will enjoy eating it. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and please leave a comment if your taste buds and your stomach enjoyed the deliciousness of this meal. Alright, and have a good rest of your day on Matt's Casual Cooking.